Good evening, and thanks for joining tonight's TI Technology webinar hosted by Texas Instruments, where tonight we're going to try to make your back-to-school experience as stress-free as possible. So how are we going to do that? Well, tonight I'm joined by Eric Archer and Curtis Brown. And these two guys, they both work at TI, and they're some of my favorite people, because they try to make sure that whatever you need in the classroom, they're creating and putting out there for free on our website. So they're both amazing individuals, and they'll, if you have concerns or questions, they'll definitely help you through those. But I'm really excited to have those two gentlemen with us tonight. I'm Mike, and I'll be taking you through tonight as our moderator. So I think, Eric, you drew the short straw. Would you mind talking through our agenda for tonight?
Yeah, sure, Mike. Thanks so much. I'm excited to be here. I know Curtis is as well. We're thrilled that back to school's getting ready to happen. I don't know if everybody online is as excited about that as we are, but we want to make it as easy as we can for you from a TI point of view and using TI technology. So the agenda tonight is going to really be focused around making sure you're aware of some of the resources, content, how-tos, and videos that are available. So we'll start with some of the lessons. These are free lessons that you can use with the 84 platform, the TI 84 platform, or the TI Inspire platform for both math and science. And so Curtis and I will walk you through some of those. Then we'll get into how to update the operating system on your graphing calculators. Look, it's just a good idea to update to the latest operating system because that always includes the latest functionality and features. If there are any little bug fixes here or there, the operating system updates usually take care of that. And so just working off of the latest and greatest is just a good idea. We'll show you how to do that. It's pretty seamless. And then we'll get into a little bit about a lot of teachers now are using learning management systems such as Google Classroom. And so Curtis and I will just walk you through how to get our content to your students' classroom via your LMS. We've got a couple of resources that can help with that. And then finally, we're going to go through a short list of useful links and resources for back to school that'll go over things like tutorials and how-tos and webinars that are available today on demand, so you can watch those at your leisure, and a few other little things here and there. And then finally, at the end of the webinar, there's going to be a webinar drawing.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. Tonight we'll be using a chat window to send general messages. So feel free, if you haven't already, to just use that chat window. Let us know where you're joining us from. It's always great I'm always excited personally to see just how large of a community we have that joins us on these Tuesday night webinars. So feel free to use that chat window, chat to everyone, send your chat to everyone so everyone can see it. And again, we'll be using that chat window tonight. As a reminder, the session is being recorded, and we'll provide a link to the event certificate of attendance at the conclusion of the webinar tonight. And with that, Curtis, I think it's all yours.
I think it's my turn to share. So I'm gonna hit the share button. Let's see, you see that okay?
Yep, see the TI website, Curtis.
That is what we should be seeing right now. So, all right, really excited for this evening. Glad to be able to share some information with you guys, some helpful links and things on the TI website. So tonight we're going to start off by just jumping into the location where all of our activities are housed on the TI website. So when you land on education.ti.com, you'll see a homepage that looks very similar to this. We update this rotating thing every month or so, so might not have exactly the same 4 things highlighted. We're going to grab that activities drop down and click on, I'm going to start on Activities Central for 84 users in the audience. The pre-made lessons that we have available to you on the Activities Central are all here, sorted by the course or the class that you teach. From middle grades math, all the way up to and through your calculus materials. These are lessons that we've prepared. Many of them have maybe an 84 program file or something that you can share with your students. I'm going to jump in here to limits of functions, limits of indeterminate forms as just the first calculus lesson here, just to show you that we've got some student files, an activity document, PDF, teacher notes, the same kind of thing here for you to download. You click on those and use them. One other area on TI-84 Activity Central I figured I might point out is this mathematical modeling series of lessons. So there's a whole group of lessons here that really are written such that you could use them at any grade level to kind of engage students in some of the mathematical modeling practices, grouped in 4 different types of modeling lessons. So there's some on ratings, some on prediction, simulation, and even a few lessons here on data science. A smaller section of them in 84 Activity Central. When we hop over to Math Inspired, we'll see a couple of things here. Eric, I know there was some stuff you also wanted to point out here.
Yeah, that's right. And so if you look toward the bottom of that list, you'll see a science category. If you just click on that briefly, you'll see a lot of the more popular topics within science. So for middle school, it's typically life science or science, physical science. And then in high school, you'll do, your biology, chemistry, physics. There's even some forensic science and a little STEM in there. Now, most of the science activities for 84 are labs. They're experiments using the Vernier sensors. And so a lot of schools have Vernier probes. They're the ones with the little white connectors on the ends of them. Those will work with your TI-84 graphing calculator through a device a Vernier sells called the Vernier Easy Link. It's just it's a little interface that plugs into the calculator through the USB port, and then the sensor plugs into the Easy Link. And so you can do data collection labs with the calculator, which is pretty slick. There's an equivalent experience on the Inspire that I'll get into a little bit later. And then one more note about science on the 84. It's not listed here, and I'll show you where it is in a little while, but there are a couple of really nice apps that are available on your 84. They come preloaded. And so when you click the apps button, you'll notice a periodic table. And that periodic table is very interactive. So you can go from element to element. It'll give you all the data around the element. You can explore atomic weights and electronegativity and all kinds of different parameters. And then there's another app called SciTools, and that's short for Science Tools. And that app's really nice because it has 4 sections in it that cover everything from like how do we use graphs and data analysis to calculating vectors in physics. So and a few things in between. So I'll get into a little bit more about that kind of stuff later. But that stuff's preloaded on your graphing calculator already. So take advantage of that, science teachers, and check that out.
Yeah, that's really great, Eric. Some good information there. Well, let's hop over to the Math and Science Inspired. I'm going to slow down a little bit and jump into these a little bit more in depth as we go through. If you notice how I click on that activities link, that drop down and go navigate over to Math Inspired. Again, I've got a whole series of lessons that are kind of broke out by grade level. There are a few things here that I figured I'd point out as resources as well. Just a couple of things that are beyond what we offered in the 84 Activity Central, and that was, there's some video lessons that are available as well. So underneath of the geometry series of lessons, we've got a whole bunch of stuff here for geometry teachers, but in transformational geometry, and these are also listed under middle grades math for transformational geometry. There's a whole series of them. I think they're listed at the bottom in the middle grades section of these, because transformations are taught at both middle grades and in high school. But I'm going to click through on the high school set. So I know I'm clicking around fast, but we're looking at the high school geometry, transformational geometry section. Under here, there are 5 lessons that really are intended to be kind of a really quick jump into this idea of reflections, rotations, translations, dilations, each one of those are really intended to be kind of a quick way to get your students engaged with those. However, there are videos for each one of these. If you click on this little link here, hopefully it doesn't start playing. I'm glad it didn't. When you click on this link, there's a little light box that pops up and opens up in here that lets you play sort of an introductory video. It gives you some challenges, things to do by our beloved Tom Reardon, T-Cubed instructor and math teacher from Ohio, does a great job with these, and he gives some great ideas on ways you can use these with your students, and then you can even use that video with your students if you should so choose. One other reason I wanted to highlight this is one of the only series of lessons that we have grabbed Google Docs and actually Google Forms versions of these activities. We've made Google Forms versions of these activities so that if you click on this link here for Google Docs and share that, you actually create a copy of this Google form to be able to share with your students. And actually, let's do that right now. I'm going to open this link in a new tab just to show you what it actually looks like. Oh, you know what? I'm not on VPN anymore. It won't let me do that live. So I'm not going to do that. If we click on that Google Docs form right there, what happens is it creates a version of that for you on your computer to share out with your students. And then as they answer those questions, the solutions and things are transmitted back to you in a Google Sheets. And then you also have links right out to those videos from that Google form, which is kind of a nice way to have that available.
Hey, Curtis, real quick, the reason why it creates a copy, why you can't just click on it and go, is because Google requires a login, right?
Right.
And so each teacher that's using Google Classroom likely is logged into their account. And so we did the next best thing, which was, okay, well, you can't just link it to the TI account. So instead we create a copy of it. You can take that copy, paste it into your account, and then it's there, it's yours.
Right. That's exactly the reason. I didn't want to be receiving all of those student responses
right
in my Google email. So made sure that you guys could do that on your own. And then I wanted to point out one more resource that's available. So it's listed in several places on the TI Math Resources website, both in the 84 and in Inspire, is this Families of Functions modular course. And I'll open up this in a new tab here. If I click on that, we're going to get a link out to the Family of Functions website. And this website is a website full of video resources to help you and your students kind of explore the topics and ideas around transformations of functions. We've got videos of all the different types of transformations, and with a variety, I think 15 different parent functions where you can explore those functions, and doing this by hand, and some great explorations there. So this is a great resource to use with your students, particularly in maybe tutorial or like flipped classroom type scenarios. Works really well for that type of scenario. So I think those are all. Oh, one more little thing.
Well, Curtis, before you go on, real quick on the families of functions, I'm not a math teacher. You know, I'm on the science side more than I am on the math side. Yeah, that's right. Don't hold that against me. But what I thought was pretty cool is the way these lessons were structured is that it's about learning. It's not about spitting out an answer. It's not about. Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's about learning how these functions work and the characteristics of each type of function, and giving the students examples of various forms of these functions. And so it's not about just like plugging in an equation and spitting out the function and being done. It's about actually learning what they mean. And I thought, I don't know, it's a subtle difference, I guess, but to me, it seems so important.
I particularly appreciate you bringing that out, Eric, and especially around this idea of the linear function. So looking at linear relations and exploring them in all their different forms, and the way that both slope can be explored and kind of drawn into, and then looking at the bigger functions, like the more complicated functions, and looking at how transformations are done in here, really kind of gives you a set of steps and ways that you can share this stuff with your kids, and get them exploring and diving in conceptually as to how and why these functions move around, rather than just getting answers. And I like that you point that out.
And then Curtis, we got a
What did I
question.
click on to get families of functions?
Yes.
So there's a couple of ways to get it, but I think the most sort of intuitive way to get it is from any of the algebra, algebra 2, pre-calculus. Any of these will have a listing for families of functions. So underneath of the, I think that's functions and relations. So algebra 1, functions and relations, families of functions is the first lesson up there. So that's the easiest way to grab that. Algebra 2, I think it's listed underneath of functions. It's the first one listed there. In your pre-calculus, it's also listed under functions and graphs. It's the first one there. So, and if you try to find it, there is another listing of it. I think it's down in the footer, but I think this is the easiest way to find it. To me, it's the quickest way to find it. So one last thing before we hop over to Science Inspired, which we will do in just a second. I want to point out, so there are mathematical modeling things for math as well, or for TI Inspire as well. I skipped over that since I talked about it in the 84 section. But I also wanted to just point out, just briefly, since we have a minute, we have a whole series of lessons written for both 84 and Inspire that have the Python capability for coding in mathematics. So for those of you out there interested in bringing in a little bit of code into your math classes, we have a whole series of explorations with coding lessons. Becky Beyer has been incredibly creative in writing a whole bunch of lessons around Python, using Python to create math program, a lot of them kind of gamification of learning some math concept. And so these have very step-by-step instructions on how to kind of write the code and then use this to explore these different math concepts. So I just thought I'd bring that out there and let you guys know this resource is existing, especially if you're interested in bringing a little bit of code into your math classes. So with that, Eric, you want to jump over to Science Inspired?
Sure. Yeah. Real quick too. I'll also make a note, Curtis. I really like that you showed the explorations with coding, just because, a good time to try these sorts of things might be like, right when exams are done in May, or before the winter holiday break. Half your class is missing because they've already gone on vacation. So, you can pull these out and try them out with your students to see if that's something that they enjoy, before you actually roll it out into a full-blown, class lesson where they have to learn it. But there's a bunch of other resources like that as well, especially the STEM projects that we have available. But yes, Curtis, let's jump into science real quick so we don't run out of time.
Yep.
So the science equivalent to what Curtis just showed you is scienceinspired.com, inspired without the I at the beginning. And I'll put that in the chat. And I won't spend too much time on this. I think the majority of the people here are probably on the math side, but in case we have some science friends here, this website is great because it's got middle school science, high school science. And then Curtis, if you would click on life science for me.
I can.
So that's a middle school. And then just click on cells and heredity, the first one in the list. So everything's broken down by topic. And so when you click on a topic under a subject, so in this case, cells and heredity is the topic and the subject is life science. We broke everything down in 3 categories on the science side. So we have simulations, data collection, and assessment. Now, not all topics have all 3 things. So for example, for genetics, there's not a lot of data collection I can do, with a sensor. But the simulations are great for things that you can't really do in a lab or very easily. Yeah, go ahead and expand that simulations category. And so these are just interactive simulations that the students can control one or more variables. They can click and drag things. So for example, the Punnett square, they can click and drag the capital T or the lowercase t to complete the Punnett square. You know, these are all done on the handheld or the software or the iPad app. If you're using iPads, they'll work on all of those. And Curtis, go back one click for me real quick. I'm going to take them back to where it's broken down. So we have the simulations for things that are kind of hard to do in a lab. And then if you click on data collection, these are sensor-based labs. So these are things that use vernier probes with the EZ-Link, or if you're using, you know, some more experienced TI technology, you might have an older 84 with the CBL2. Those are great. You can do those, use that as well, or an Inspire with an older lab cradle. All of those work. So that's what these are. And in this particular lesson, we're looking at enzyme chemical reactions. And then click on assessment real quick. So the assessment it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing really fancy here. It's just more or less assessment questions, a long list of assessment questions. So if your state or district has an end of course exam for middle school science, and then again, maybe in biology, a lot of states will have, you know, middle school science, and then they'll have a biology in high school. This is great practice. And so that particular set of assessment questions, there's probably 20, 30, or even 40 that you can go through and reorder. You can modify them with the software. You can make them your own. You can add questions if you want, and then have the students practice those in preparation for an exam or just to check for understanding. So now, Curtis, if you do me a favor real quick, click on chemistry. So we'll jump in high school. I just want to show some, you know, the consistency here. So the first one there is atoms, I believe, atomic structure.
Atomic structure, yeah.
So you'll notice the same thing. It's simulations, data collection, and assessment. So that structure is consistent across topics and across subjects. Now, some have more simulations than others. Some have more data collection than others. Some don't have any data collection. But you get the idea. So these are just TI Inspire calculator files that you can download and then send to your students. And then real quick here, I just want to just make quick note of if anybody's using OpenSciEd, it's a middle school curriculum. We do have a few lessons that are specifically designed for OpenSciEd, and so those are there. And then below that, you'll see all of the standards searches. So, you know, every lesson here is aligned to state standards as well as national NGSS standards. So if your state's an NGSS state, you can either search on your state standards or you can go to the NGSS standard search. Curtis, let me jump over to, let's see here. Yeah, click on one of those lessons. That's fine. OSC, why is McKenna losing so much weight? This is a lesson specifically from OpenSciEd, but really what I want to show you here is we made mention of using learning management systems and how you might go about doing that. And all of the files under the download section where Curtis's cursor is, those are all links, they're web links. And so if you hover over that TNS file, Curtis, and just kind of right click on the TNS file, you can copy the link address and then you can send that to your students so that they have it at home through your LMS. And then we'll show in a few minutes here, we're going to show you a TI Inspire web application that makes it really easy for them to get that file onto their calculators very fast, really quickly. And it's all free, and it's on the web. You don't need a login, you don't need a subscription or any of that stuff. So we'll show that to you in a few minutes. Before we go there though, Curtis, can you go to the homepage, the TI homepage, and then click on that middle section with a little atom where it says all things science. And while he's doing that, I'm going to put a URL in the chat that'll get you here also. So this is a one-stop shop for all things science on TI. And if you look across the top, you'll see an overview, lessons and apps, assessment, projects, and so forth. Curtis, let's click on lessons and apps real quick. I want to show everybody. I mentioned earlier that the TI-84 has a couple of really nice apps. And so there's just a little animated GIF showing the periodic table app and just the depth of that app. It's not just a poster of a periodic table on your calculator. It's highly interactive, extremely informative. The students will learn about the various parts of the periodic table. They can explore, all of that, each element, all the data's there for each element. And so it's a really nice tool. It's not just a calculator poster, so to speak. And then, yeah, Curtis, could you, let's see, that side tools, there it is. Okay, side tools. So again, we don't have time to go into it, but I want you guys to check that out. You can go to a web page where, update OS, yep. And it'll automatically, when you update your OS, those two science apps come in automatically. Okay, you don't have to do anything special. They'll just appear in your, and in fact, if you have an 84, if you click on the apps key, chances are they're already there. So I just want to make you aware of that. But again, this is all things science. So it's got lessons and apps. It's got information about data collection for both the 84 and the Inspire platforms. All right, Curtis, I think I've spent enough time on the science side. Should we jump into TI Connect's, the TI Inspire Connect application?
So I think we can jump into TI Inspire Connect. Really quickly, I want to kind of walk through where the download for the operating system is located. So if you go to downloads on the TI, education.ti.com, underneath of the downloads drop down, you'll see all the listing for all the guidebooks available. But on the right-hand column, you'll find a listing for the 84 plus CE apps and updates, and then TI Inspire CX2 apps and updates. And we're gonna do both of those here in just a second. As a matter of fact, I scrounged around and I found an out-of-date 84, so an 84 that I have at home, as well as an Inspire CX2 that we're gonna go through just the process of updating both of these apps. Or both of these graphing calculators. So I'm going to go here to downloads and snag the 84 plus C OS and apps. The current version of the 84 plus CE OS and apps bundle is version 5.8. And you'll see that in the left-hand column here. So if we go over to that version, we're going to grab upgrade now. Just sort of a highlight also on the right hand side is all of the information around the software. And I noticed somebody asked if the updated emulator is it free. So we have a new version of our TI-84 plus CE SmartView emulator software that's out there, that's version 6.0. This version is now a what do you call it? A license subscription software. So that's available there for you if you want to update to version 6.0 and have that version available. For those of you who are still using a version 5.6 with or older with a perpetual license, so a license that will work for that, and you don't want to upgrade to the subscription software, you can also update your 84 SmartView to version 5.6 so that you can have the latest one that is not subscription based. But I'm going to go over here to upgrade now for the 84 plus CE operating system and apps. And the version that I have happens to be a non-Python graphing calculator here. So I'm going to snag that there. The question is it possible to update the OS of an 82 or an 83? Eric, that requires the older version of TI Connect
Right.
software. The easiest and quickest way to get that software is to reach out to 1-800-TI Cares, and they can get you both that version of the software and the latest OS for those graphing calculators. So it's possible to update them, but we don't have that stuff readily available on the website. You'll have to call TI Cares for that.
Right. The operating system, there's a good chance you may already have the latest OS available for either of those platforms. In
You
fact,
may already have it.
that
Yeah, that's true.
I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think the 83 might have been the first flash-based calculator we had where you can update the OS in the field. The 82, I'm not so sure about. I think it may have predated that. Where
It may have.
yeah,
It may have.
but I will send the link in the chat for the 83 download center because we still have that available. But the 82, yeah, I don't know that there was an OS available outside of the original ROM
Original one,
that
right?
was on the calculator itself. I don't think there's a flash-based version of that.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to note here. So the 84, I'm going to click on this 84 plus CE graphing calculator version. I'm also going to click on TI Connect CE because this is the software that I'm going to need to update my calculator. I've already got mine here. I just wanted to show you what it looks like when you go to download this. So if I click on download the OS and apps bundle, that's just going to download my my file here. So I'm ready to go to update my OS. And then I could also download and update my 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 TI Connect CE software application for Mac or Windows. And you can also use it for a Chrome operating system. If you have a Chrome operating system, we do have a version of that out there for the Chromebook. So if you have that Chrome OS, we have a way for you to use that to update the calculator. So I'm going to open up my TI Connect software. I've already got it hooked up here. I've got my calculator hooked up to the computer. And you'll note that it tells me what OS version that calculator has. So this particular version has 5.3.1 as its version of the operating system bundle and apps. So I'm going to click the actions key here, the menu drop down, and say send OS bundle to calculators. Now this I've done this a few times already, so it kind of defaults to the folder system where I've already where I store all of my my operating system and bundles, but you can navigate to downloads, the download center, or wherever you've downloaded the file and moved it to. So I'm going to select that OS and apps bundle, and I'm going to hit open. And what's going to happen is I will get a message here that asks, how many of these calculators do you want to send this to? I could have a couple of more calculators plugged into my computer, and that's going to matter in just a second when we talk about Inspire. But here I could do as many as I have USB ports on my computer to update. So I'm going to select all connected calculators. And I've also got replace existing content with the same name checked. That's kind of by default. I'm going to hit show bundle contents just so you can see all of the things that are included here. And included in this list are the science tools. So SciTools is here along with the periodic table, all Polysimul, all of the math functionality as well. So I'm going to hit the send button, and it's going to send everything down. And the question is, he is updating 84, not with the CE, but this updates the TI-84. He is updating a regular 84, not with the CE, but this updates the TI-84. I think I understand the question. And that question is, can I update a TI-84 with this TI Connect CE software? And the answer is yes, I can.
Yes.
You can use this software, TI Connect CE, to update an 84 with the latest 84 software operating system, which I believe is 2.55 MP. The MP stands for math print. So you can check that that operating system using that. But if you plug this in, the same USB port exists on those 84s, and so you're good to go. What's happening right now is that calculator received the OS. I think you saw that go all the way through, and then it started over with the apps. So that's what's going on here. Is it's sending over and validating each one of the apps that are included in that bundle. It takes just about just a couple of minutes really to do this, and really it'll do, as like I said, as many USB ports as you have on your computer. It will do this same set of things for all of them at the same time, and it takes roughly the same amount of time whether you're doing one calculator or 5 or 6 calculators. So Eric, I think I see that you have something to say.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say, I think it, not technically supposed to say this probably, but I think it may also work with certain USB hubs. You can't go too crazy with that. There is a limit, but if you have a bunch of TI-84s, a powered USB hub, I've seen where that's worked as well, where you can plug in multiple TI-84s to get them updated.
Yeah,
But,
sort of the line that I stick with is as many USB ports as my computer has.
Yeah.
I stick with that, but
that's a safe one. Yeah, that's safe.
That's the safe bet.
Right.
Once you go beyond that, there may or may not be
No
support
guarantees.
for that many.
Right.
But you're not going to break anything for trying. I think that's the best communication I could say. I've also got a question. Computer not recognized download. So one thing that you have to be careful with, this file will not open on a computer. So if you download that TI-84 bundle file, that 84 plus CE bundle file, your computer will not recognize that file as something that it can open up. It will not open that up as a like an emulator on your computer or anything like that. It won't even really work with your TI SmartView. SmartView is a different file, and so you have to be really careful about downloading and trying to open this file. It's really intended to go directly to the graphing calculator. All right, so we have now updated my 84 plus CE, and I want to be sure, Mike warned me about this at the very beginning to make sure that I said this and then I didn't say it, and that is that this has been recorded, so you guys are going to all get this link and you'll be able to follow through those steps and pause me. I know I talked really fast just through that, but I'm trying to get through both of these, so make sure that you ask questions in the chat and we'll answer them as we can. But if I went through too quickly through that, just know that you have this resource to go back and rewatch in a little while.
And then
you can totally do that.
We'll also show them some of the video resources that are available that kind of walk you through the exact same thing.
Right. And maybe a little more step by step than what I just did.
Right.
So on that note, I'm going to jump over and work with the TI Nspire CX2. So I've got a TI Nspire CX2 brand new out of the box, and I know the operating system here is out of date. So I'm gonna plug this one into my computer as well. I'm gonna go here to downloads, and I'm gonna snag Nspire CX2 updates. So I will click on that. And I didn't point this out before. I just kind of sat on the screen with the 84, but I'll point it out now. We've recently updated this. It looks really nice, actually. Pat on the back to the web team for the way that this has been updated. I appreciate sort of this look and feel to the update path. So if you go in here and hit select the product that you like, what we're looking for is I've got the CX2. Just the numeric version, the white one here. So I'm going to click that I want to update that to version 6.0. And I'm also going to, I'm going to click down here at the bottom and select my teacher software. I know I'm not actually going to do that while we're on the page here, but I wanted to just show you what it looks like when you navigate to the next page and you have multiple things to download. So when I get to the next page, the software for my graphing calculator, the operating system for my graphing calculator will be listed first. And there's two options. The first option here is to update my OS using a free app that we have on the internet now called TI Nspire CX2 Connect. The website, Eric, I think you can put it in the chat if you want, is
sure.
is TI Connect, TINspireConnect.com,
Thanks,
.ti.com.
Inspire Connect.
It's TI Inspired.
It's inspireconnect.ti.com.
Yep, that's it.
I got it.
InspireConnect.ti.com. And that link is where I'm going to go to update. But that is a 1 unit at a time update. So I can update one calculator at a time, and that's all that I can do. If I have a bunch of calculators that I want to update, then I can download the operating system to my computer and do it similar to the way that I just did the TI-84 with a downloaded file and open up some software and use the teacher software to send that operating system out to some connected calculators. And speaking of the Teacher Connect software, we also have an update to the teacher software this year, moving from version 5.4 to version 6.0. Again, it's an account-based, subscription-based software, so it does require a new access key, kind of in the similar fashion that the 84 does. So if you're wanting to move from the version 5.0 to 5.4 to 6.0, just know that you're going to need a subscription-based, account-based version of the software versus staying with the version 5.0 license-based.
Yeah, that's a quick note, Curtis, just to make sure, just being crystal clear here and transparent. So once you go to the subscription version, it's a subscription, which means,
it's a yearly update. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an annual kind of deal. So just know that going into it. If you're happy with your license-based version, and it's a perpetual license, you could stick with that for as long as you want, really.
Yep.
But the only deficit there is you're going to miss out on some new features down the road. But I think that the two versions right now are roughly the same, the subscription-based and the license-based.
Yep.
But going forward, the subscription-based will carry a lot of the new features. So just a heads up on that. Just want to make sure everyone's clear on that.
Yep, and I actually clicked that faster than I wanted to. So up here in the corner for how to update your operating system, I'm going to select this first one here because I only have one calculator I want to update. I'm going to click on that. And here we are. We've got this web page that we've landed on. So I'm going to say connect to a calculator. And you'll note that I've plugged my calculator in and it recognizes this one single Inspire handheld connected. So I'm gonna say connect.
Real quick, first. Yo, go ahead. Yep. No, this is what I wanted them to see.
Yep.
So you're good.
I've got another version of this open someplace. So this, if you have multiple windows of this open on your computer, you are going to have a problem. I need to find the one that I had open earlier.
While he's doing that, I'll just also note that if you also have the software running, the Inspire software running, you'll get the same kind of error. So basically what happens is you can't have multiple types of web-based or software applications connecting to the same piece of hardware, in this case a graphing calculator. And that's true in general, not just graphing calculators. Anytime you're trying to connect a device to a computer system, typically a piece of hardware can only communicate with one piece of software at a time. And that's why you saw that error, is because Curtis had multiple iterations of the web application open at the same time. So that's just a heads up.
So sometimes you do these things on purpose to make sure that that you get a chance to demonstrate those kinds of things. I'll let you guys decide whether I did that on purpose or if it just caught me without paying attention. So when I land on this screen, I get Yeah, thanks for laughing at that joke. I appreciate that.
Well,
So when I land on this screen here, I've got my calculator connected. I have three different options. I'm going to get to the OS one here, but as Eric was talking earlier about sharing files with your students via learning management systems and that sort of thing, this is the location where a student could then uh, click on the link that you've shared with them for a TNS file or that sort of thing, download that to their computer, and then immediately go here to Inspire Connect and send it off to their calculator and use it that way. This works through Google Chrome. So this application, I didn't mention that to begin with, but this application works on Google Chrome and only Google Chrome, the web browser. So you should be able to access it from the platform you have. But just know that it requires the Google Chrome browser. So you have the ability to capture a screen. So I can capture a screen. You can see that that's there. I also can do a file transfer, send something down to my calculator, or take a file from my calculator, send it back to my computer. I won't waste time with that. But I'm going to choose this update the operating system. And
well, that's old.
when I
Yeah.
click, well, it's brand new out of the box, but it's never been updated.
Yeah.
So if I click on that, it shows me the current version of the operating system on the graphing calculator and the most latest available operating system that I could update to. So I'm going to just click Update OS, and now we get to just watch this this little bar go across here as it updates the operating system. So Eric, there's probably something fancy to talk about while that's happening.
Yeah. No, that's great. And what I liked about, so the software is great. The software's got a lot available, but if you're not using the software, if you haven't used the software and you just need to update the OS on the calculators, this is a great way to do it. If you have a bunch of calculators you're trying to do at once, the software is a better way to do it because you can use what's called the transfer tool on the software. You can connect a bunch of calculators to your computer all at once, either through the USB ports on the computer or through a docking station, and it will send the operating system or files that you want the students to explore all at the same time. It takes a couple minutes for 10 handhelds at a time, but gets it done pretty quick. But if it's just a single calculator or just a few, this is a much better way to do it. The only other thing I'll mention it on the LMS side. So again, this is a web-based system. It's completely free, no subscription, no license, none of that stuff's required. It's just a web link. It's inspireconnect.ti.com. I put that web link in the URL, and you can send this out to your students through your LMS, send the TNS file you want them to explore through your LMS, and then they can use this same utility that Curtis is using to update his OS. You can have them grab a screenshot of a graph you told them to graph, or a function you told them to graph, or whatever the activity is that they're doing. You can have them grab a screenshot, submit that back to you via the LMS, or you can take our content that already has pre-authored questions. You can just make a Google Forms version of those questions. They can explore the activity on their calculators and then answer the questions on your Google form. And that way it's all automated through Google and you get all the responses back that you want. So this little system here, this TI Nspire CX2 Connect system, it's simple, it's straightforward. There's no learning curve really, and it just gets it done. It works really well with an LMS system.
Yeah, it really is a nice way kind of to work with the students and with that the sharing that. It's a nice, easy step. I did get a question here just a minute ago about updating through Navigator. Navigator's essentially the same as using the teacher software to share that operating system through the TI Navigator system. So if you happen to have those, the Navigator hats, that's a good, easy way to update all of those. The nice thing about using the TI Navigator system and really the teacher software is it's smart. So if you have 30 calculators connected using TI Navigator, and you choose to send the OS through the transfer tool, you can actually send both OSs at the same time through the transfer tool, and the OS that is appropriate for that graphing calculator. So if you have some CAS calculators and some non-CAS calculators connected, it will send the appropriate version of the operating system to the appropriate calculators, which is really kind of a handy feature of using the Inspire and the teacher software with the transfer tool. I also got a really good question just a minute ago. Let's see, about the difference or the I started to type my answer. I never hit enter on the chat. Somebody asked about whether it was a dumb question to note the advantage or the difference of using Inspire. I'll just say this, that now Inspire is a bit more dynamic capability. So I have the ability to add in sliders and grab and drag things and move stuff. So there's a little bit more of an action consequence style learning that you can have. And probably the biggest difference is the document style version of Inspire. So you can use a lot of pre-made documents, things that TI has published and shared, or other teachers publish and share, what are called TNS files. The TI Inspire document format allows you to kind of create files that students can open and access and interact with and save their work on it, which are really kind of nice. So that's a quick 2-second advantage of Inspire, or difference of Inspire. Let me make sure I didn't miss any of these others. Using it to demonstrate math. Yes, it is a good thing to lead into topics, to use Inspire to demonstrate things of that nature. In fact, many of the lessons that are out there, in fact, you asked a really good question, and I'm gonna break protocol here, Eric. We're gonna go to something just based on this one question. There's one set of activities that I didn't demonstrate that I think are worth just kind of pointing out. And that's this series of activities called Building Concepts. They were written with middle grades in mind, but really some of this stuff is good even for the high school, in particular, like the equations and expressions, or the statistics documents are also really good ones to kind of get in and explore. And these documents really allow you some exploration. And this one is visualizing equations using mobiles. And I'll just play this little, will it play? Yeah, there we go. So it allows me to kind of navigate and play around with some values here. I can click and drag things. This is all stuff that I could use to interact with or introduce the idea of solving equations and getting students kind of engaged with this topic. With my students as a whole class kind of discussion, or even let them go and play with it on their own. So this is a nice little demonstration of what Inspire can do. But those documents are all free to download and send out to your students via that Inspire Connect. All right, Eric, we got like 2.5, maybe 3 minutes left.
Yeah, let's jump into those useful links for back to school. We'll briefly cover those just to make sure everyone's aware of them. And then just so you know, you'll have access to the slide that you're looking at right now after the presentation. So you'll be able to click directly into each of these web resources, so you don't have to go trying to find them on the website.
All right, so really quickly, I've got a whole bunch of them here. They're all hot linked. That, like Eric just said, you can click and grab them from the slides that are shared with you. But I'm going to click each one of these here and let you see. This first one is a series of tutorials that we've just really started pulling together, and hopefully you guys will be able to find these very, very useful for your students and just nice review for yourselves too. These are for the 84. We've pulled together a whole series of these for the 84 calculator, and they are chapterized. So each one of these is a little bit long for a tutorial. It's about 5 to 7 minutes, some of them, but they've got chapters in them, so you can search through the chapters and grab a hold of each one of those. So that's a really useful set of tutorials, something worth kind of holding on to. Secondly, here's another link, which is our video resources on our YouTube channel. So we have our YouTube channel completely full of just a whole series of video resources and that sort of thing. So here's the stuff you can find on our YouTube channel. When you land here, you've got videos, you've got all of the live presentations, Monday Night Calculus. Hey, calculus teachers, it's coming again. We start September 18th. Just had to put that little plug in there. And if you're
Click on
teaching
that
AP
playlist
pre-calculus,
link.
we'll also be doing that soon.
Yeah.
So just
Click on
wanted to make
playlist
sure
real
that
quick,
plug was
Curtis.
there.
I just want to make sure they see under that
Yeah.
YouTube resource playlist is toward the top there, middle.
Uh-huh.
Go up a little bit, Curtis. There,
Yeah.
see where it says playlists.
Oh, playlists. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that has stuff that a little more organized, and so you can kind of search by the playlist. But there's all kinds of resources here. There's short little snippet videos. There's hour-long webinar videos. Just about everything you want is available on that YouTube channel. It's pretty rich.
Yeah, for sure. It is. It's a great place to kind of click around and explore. The how-to webinars. All of our webinars are on demand, listed at ti.com. Want to make sure that you guys have that available. So that link is here. You can go through and look at all of the webinars, and as many as you could possibly handle. So there's a bunch of those out there. Coming soon in September 30th, we have our 2023 virtual T-Cubed IC. So be sure to go in and register for that event. The registration details are here. Paul Gray is going to be the keynote speaker, and then we've got a whole bunch of T-Cubed instructors ready to do some sessions all day on September the 30th. So be joining us for that. We've also got a link here for posters and coloring sheets, some cool beginning of the year activities that you can do with your students. That's out there on Pinterest. You can go and check that. And then finally, we have a link to our TI Facebook community page. So you can grab that and join us on the Facebook community and join the conversation there. Last question, 2 questions actually. Looks like, did I miss the slideshow? We are going to email a link to the slideshow. It'll be a part of an email that you'll get afterwards, Janie. So that's ready for you. And then let's see, is there a YouTube on updating their operating system? As a matter of fact, Angela, there is a link on our YouTube channel for updating the operating system and how that will work. You can also go back and rewatch this webinar and click and grab that. And let me see, were there any other questions that I missed here?
I answered one on difference between Vernier and the CBL2. Mike's been sending some links here, the document for the webinar.
So somebody, they put a plug in for Room to Grow, the podcast. Yes, Room to Grow. Come join us. We launch a podcast once a month out there, room to grow math.com, or roomtogrowmath at gmail.com is our email. Room to Grow, you can go find us on all of the different podcast locations. Mike, I think we've taken up all of our time here.
We left Mike with 2 minutes, so we got to turn it over to him. The other two links here will be available in the post presentation set of slides, and so you can click on there. There are some really cool coloring sheets and downloadable posters of mainly math stuff that's pretty slick. So all that stuff's free and available to you from the links. All right, Mike.
Thanks so much, Curtis and Eric. That was awesome. So we are, as Eric mentioned earlier, about an hour ago, we are giving away to one lucky winner a TI graphing calculator of their choice. And tonight's lucky winner is Bayram Ukmets. So Bayram, congratulations. I'll be reaching out to you tonight, actually, to get some information from you and start thinking about which TI graphing calculator you're going to choose. To download a certificate of attendance, go ahead and click the link in the chat window. Also listed as a link for the documents for tonight. And if you're watching this on demand, like we just mentioned, all those on-demand webinars, go ahead and copy this link into your favorite browser to receive your certificate. Earlier tonight, we mentioned 1-800-TI-CARES. It's a great place to just get some help. Maybe you missed a portion of tonight's webinar and you think it's going to be easier to reach out to 1-800-TI-CARES to get some information, feel free to do that. Or if it was a question that you didn't have answered tonight, anything, give them a call, send them an email. They'd be happy to hear from you and give you some help. When you leave the webinar tonight, a brief survey automatically will appear in your browser. Your feedback is super important to us. We'd love to hear what you think. It really helps us plan future online events, so please make sure you do that. Huge thanks again to Eric and Curtis for everything they shared tonight. There was a lot. I feel so much better. I am now completely stress-free, so I am ready to go back in the classroom here in a few weeks, and all it took was this 1-hour webinar. Thanks so much, guys. You guys are the best.
Thanks, Mike.